With billions in box office returns, along with critical praise and condemnation alike, the Jurassic Park franchise has left a giant three-pronged footprint in the film zeitgeist forever. The debate over which is the best of the series will rage on, but let's dive into our own ranking from worst to best.
Hold on to your butts.
In 1993, director Steven Spielberg expertly brought to life author Michael Crichton's best-selling novel Jurassic Park. The film is an exhilarating 2 hours of prehistoric beasts relentlessly clashing with mankind's massive ego. An integral part of our first trip into the park was actor Sam Neill. The man who plays Dr. Alan Grant brought a crucial element to the screen. His childlike wonder surrounding the majesty of dinosaurs helped balance out the suspense. But when the time came for a Jurassic sequel, Neill was nowhere to be found. Neill's absence from The Lost World is because of one simple reason. Michael Crichton didn't include his character in the book. Have no fear though, because studio bigwigs swooped in and delivered a third edition in the Jurassic franchise. Excitement about Neill's return to the role of Dr. Grant had fans chattering with excitement about all the possibilities. Unfortunately for some, when Jurassic Park 3 was finally released in 2001, it seemed like a bad dream.
Alan! Alan!
While it was a roaring success in terms of the studio's financial gain, for the most part, many fans see it as the worst film in the franchise. Some critics feel that Jurassic Park 3 reeks of greedy corporate exploitation, or as the Wall Street Journal somewhat diplomatically wrote, Jurassic Park 3 exemplifies Hollywood's standard practice of stomping a brilliant concept beyond recognition. For the best of reasons, tie-ins with toy makers, theme park owners, and fast food merchandisers. This third Jurassic film features A-list actors William H. Macy and Téa Leoni sharing the screen with Sam Neill. Sadly, the script didn't leave these screen veterans a whole lot to work with. Film critic Michael Segro of the Baltimore Sun noted the silliness of what he described as, quote, deliberately stupid characters. He went on to say, despite the eruptions of cheesy jollity and the occasional funny line or bit of business, the picture descends into the smash, gnash, and groan school of filmmaking. Were there fans of this third installment? Of course, there were plenty. But the fact of the matter is that this film killed the franchise for over a decade. It would take 14 years for Universal Studios to take a chance on anything Jurassic, which is likely due to the fact that Jurassic Park 3's worldwide box office gross was relatively dismal compared to both the original film and its follow-up, The Lost World. Even then, much of the franchise was placed on the shoulders of a lean, mean Chris Pratt and a new genetic amalgamation of terror. Coming in at number 4 on our list is Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom. This is where the ranking argument gets a bit heated. Fallen Kingdom displays a stripping of suspenseful elements and a return to camp. Aside from a beautiful and heartbreaking image of a Brachiosaurus being consumed by plumes of volcanic ash, many critics felt that the film didn't really add anything new or memorable to the franchise. Rex Reed of The Observer wrote, Fallen Kingdom has more dinosaurs, more screams, and more general chaos, but doesn't make a single move to explore a fresh idea or add a new slant on a tired old formula. As brainless summer escapism movies go, this one can't go fast enough. That being said, the film is still a smorgasbord of both our favorite dinosaurs and some new ones. The satisfaction we feel watching that little hard-headed creature tossing all those rich folks who capitalize on a cataclysmic disaster around the auction room is glorious. It's another fantastic visual representation of the core concept which flows through all Jurassic films, the hubris of mankind. Not only do we get that delicious framework, but the introduction of an entirely new intelligent predator who really shakes things up. Fallen Kingdom introduces the Indoraptor, a genetically engineered super dinosaur programmed with a targeting system in the form of a laser pointer. But the formidable monster meets its match in a somewhat unsatisfying way. The intelligence and might of the Indoraptor would likely shake off blows from Blue, a smaller raptor, with ease given the size difference and the monster's supposed awareness, but the film needs to have Blue to function as our new anti-hero. Despite the silly and predictable elements in this film, it's an undeniably enjoyable experience, and it sets up a massive landscape for writers to explore in the next film, thanks to Jeff Goldblum's ominous speech at the end.
We've entered a new era. Welcome to Jurassic World.
The bottom line is that Fallen Kingdom was less of a nail-biting thriller like the original film and more of a celebratory romp of what we've come to know as the filmic representation of the Mesozoic era. For some critics like Alan Almacher of The MacGuffin, however, that makes it hard to even justify the existence of the film beyond box office interests. Almacher wrote in his review, "It is a cash grab in the worst possible way, stuffed with callbacks, cameos, and thinly veiled fan service. It is a spectacular disappointment. This is the kind of movie that challenges our love of movies, and I don't mean that in a good way." Following up one of the most legendary and loved films to ever grace the screen is A Tall Order. 4 years passed before audiences were able to take in more Jurassic Park. Steven Spielberg and screenwriter David Koepp adapted Michael Crichton's book, The Lost World, to develop a follow-up to the original film. However, they did take a lot of liberties. It was a box office success, albeit one that did not surpass the previous film's numbers. Despite the film's bottom line, it's a part of the series that faced some critical flogging. The Lost World only had 2 of the original cast members return in important roles, with Richard Attenborough only appearing in the first few scenes as John Hammond. The role of Ian Malcolm is reprised by Jeff Goldblum, and his cool demeanor is arguably the best part of the whole film. With our old favorite came new additions in Julianne Moore and a baby-faced Vince Vaughn, fresh off his Swingers success. The cast is enjoyable, but this sequel sees the franchise steer away from the suspense of the first film and venture into campier territory. Case in point, the infamous gymnastics scene. After being trapped by dinosaurs in an abandoned building, Goldblum's daughter spins through the air and kicks a raptor hard enough to send it flying through a boarded-up window.
The school cut you from the team?
As fantastic a filmmaker as Spielberg is, he has a knack for slipping whimsical aspects into his films that can take things just a step too far. We've all witnessed this habit a time or two in his other films. There is an argument to be made, however, that the legendary director's penchant for over-the-top whimsy is what allows for future elements in his Jurassic franchise to develop even further. And if you really think about it, that's kind of essential because you can only tell so many stories about people inexplicably going to a dinosaur-filled island where everything goes terribly wrong. Despite negative reviews when the film was first released, The Lost World has actually become more enjoyable as time has passed. Emmett Asher-Perrin of Tor suggests that it may not have gotten a fair shake when it first hit screens. The critic asserted in a 2018 retrospective look, "If The Lost World was not automatically pitted against Jurassic Park by virtue of being its sequel, people probably would have gotten a kick out of it." At the time, we all may not have been ready for a T-Rex stampeding through the streets of San Diego, but now that we've been to Asgard and back, it's not quite so unbearably kitsch. Now it's just fun. Without this controversial direction, the Jurassic World films we know today would undoubtedly be a much different experience. After the disappointment of Jurassic Park 3, everyone believed the franchise to be extinct. The Jurassic films faded into the realms of nostalgia, treated with respect but seen as a cinematic pastime. 14 years went by, and then along came the trailer for Jurassic World. "The park is open," it boasted. Even going back and re-watching the trailer several years later will stir a childlike excitement for many fans. It comes complete with the doors of the park opening, shots of dinosaur eggs in a new lab, and a gigantic aquatic beast that we've never seen before. Even though Jurassic World was more than occasionally silly, it breathed life back into the franchise. The situations that filmmakers put the characters into has a suspenseful feel that actually makes you nervous about what might happen next. It creates an inkling of the anxiety we felt on our first journey through the park many years ago. The original story of Jurassic Park can be seen in the framework, but this one feels fresh. Jurassic World honors the original while pulling in elements from the rest of the series to help you not take it too seriously and to just have a good time.
We want to be thrilled.
Don't we all?
The entirely new cast is led by Bryce Dallas Howard and Chris Pratt. Adding to the stellar cast is over a decade of CGI technology advancements. All the dinosaurs look incredibly crisp and realistic. The new dino villain Indominus Rex only exists in the world of imagination, but we're pretty sure that's exactly what the ultimate predator would look like. The world presented in this movie feels plausible, and has us invested in where we are going. Not to mention an old familiar lesson is apparent in the story. Monetizing dinosaurs is a very bad idea. Such high praise makes it seem as though Jurassic World should be placed in the #1 slot on our list. The film extracts the goods from its amber casing and gives it life. It's a great cinematic achievement, but there is still something commercial about it, as though it is almost too polished. The world of dinosaurs is primal and ruthless. The dread that comes along with the unbiased savagery of the food chain is displayed more in full by Jurassic World's predecessor. There are only a handful of cinematic moments in history as iconic as the first moments we see in Open Field of Dinosaurs in Jurassic Park. The classic John Williams score paired with Alan Grant and Ellie Sattler's stunned awe is a nearly unmatched on-screen moment. Even all these years later, the special effects are impressively enduring. If you were born on this side of the millennium, you are likely unaware of the effect Jurassic Park has had on pop culture. The film perfectly executes an endless amount of tropes and tricks that have been used by countless films since, most memorably being the close-up on the water trembling in its cup as the monstrous T-Rex approaches, not to mention the understated reaction from Bob Peck's game warden Robert Muldoon when he realizes he has been outsmarted by raptors. His respect for the creatures outweighs the awareness of his demise as he mutters his last words.
Clever girl.
Another classic moment is one of the raptors displaying menacing intent by rhythmically tapping his talon against tile while hunting down children in a kitchen. Revisiting this classic and reliving how amazing it is makes you more judgmental about what other installments bring to the table. There is a balance that Steven Spielberg achieved in Jurassic Park, amazement placed right alongside terrifying suspense. While you are scared for the characters, you just can't look away. Jurassic Park even has Samuel L. Jackson, and what film hasn't been made better with the addition of Samuel L. Jackson?
I'm nice like that.
Jackson is pretty reserved here as one of the computer programmers responsible for the park's inner workings. However, his charismatic presence is undeniable. Then there's Jeff Goldblum, in all his unbuttoned glory as Ian Malcolm. His philosophical ramblings foreshadowing the demise of the park are cause for alarm. However, the charm with which he delivers the lines causes you to not take the warnings too seriously, which is a beautiful effect given how the story plays out. The original Jurassic Park hits all the marks for both adults and children. Adults get the suspense they need from watching Dr. Grant scramble across the park with two kids while evading vicious predators. Kids get all the majesty of dinosaurs, mixed with a borderline nightmarish warning about bioethics. Regardless, the Jurassic Park and World films are all extremely fun experiences. The ranking among most of the movies is rarely one that people agree on, but one thing is for certain. Everyone agrees on this one. The first Jurassic Park movie is the undeniable king of the franchise. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more Looper videos about your favorite movie franchises are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.